This is 190 Vision Revisited, where reflection sparks transformation.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're looking today at possessions and spirit attachments.
Yeah, specifically through the lens of that 190 Vision video, possession and spirit attachments explained. Laura and Coach's take on it.
Exactly. Our mission here is really just to get clear on their perspective. So maybe start us off. What exactly are possessions and spirit attachments according to them?
Well, the key thing they start with is the difference. Coach, he explains an attachment as basically something hanging on.
Hanging on, like energetically.
Yeah, influencing you, maybe affecting your mood or thoughts, but not actually taking the driver's seat. He used that analogy like something stuck in your body.
Okay, right. It's there, you feel it, but you're still in charge. So how's possession different then?
Possession, according to Coach, that's when an entity actually manages to take over.
Takes over, like your whole body.
Well, maybe part of it or potentially all of it. And that's when you see like noticeable behavioral changes because something else is operating things.
Got it. So attachment is like a backseat driver maybe, but possession is someone actually grabbing the wheel.
That's a good way to put it. And then they bring in this whole idea about germs and frequency.
Ah, yes, the frequency concept. How does that fit in?
So Coach introduces this idea that, well, these spirit entities, they're kind of everywhere, a bit like germs are.
Okay, always around us.
Right. And the key factor is frequency. The idea that everything, absolutely everything, has its own energy, its own vibration. Us, entities, everything.
Its own energetic signature.
Exactly. And Coach's point is that these entities, they can attach when your frequency drops down to their level.
Ah, so it's about resonance, like attracts, like energetically speaking.
Precisely. He compares it to how viruses might affect someone with a weakened immune system. Although he's very clear, the root cause, in their view, isn't the weak system itself, but the drop in frequency that weakened it. Apparently, a teaching or practice they use helps people keep their frequency high, kind of strengthens their energetic defenses, you could say.
Okay, so if you're working on your frequency, does that mean you're basically immune? No more attachments or possessions?
Well, Coach tackles that directly. He says, no, it's not like a magic shield. You don't become completely immune.
Okay.
But he does suggest they become much less frequent. He even shared that story about his family, how they rarely get sick anymore.
Right, and they attribute that to keeping their frequencies high.
Yeah, that's their take on it. So the bottom line from Coach is frequency helps keep, well, pretty much everything unwanted away, energetically speaking.
So if low frequency is the vulnerability, what causes it to drop in the first place? What did Laura say about that?
Laura gave some really relatable examples. Things like, stress from work, big one.
Makes sense.
Or deep sadness, like when someone passes away. Even, and this was her personal example, just crying during a Disney movie because it hit her emotionally.
Wow, okay. So even strong emotional responses we might see as normal.
Seemingly, yeah. Also physical things, like physical pain from an accident. She mentioned Denise hurting her hand.
Right.
And even simple stuff like dealing with allergies or other physical ailments.
Okay, allergies.
Yeah.
But wait, Coach had a slightly different angle on allergies, didn't he? He sort of flipped it.
He did, yeah. That was interesting. He basically said lowered frequency is the cause of the allergies, not the other way around.
So the low frequency comes first, making you susceptible to pollen or whatever.
That's his explanation. He mentioned Lori actually overcame her allergies by focusing on her spiritual health, raising her frequency. And he said things like pollen, temperature changes, they just don't affect them anymore either.
That's definitely a different perspective than the usual medical one. Okay, so we understand how things might attach because of frequency drops, but what kind of things are we talking about here? What can attach?
Coach breaks it down. First, he talks about negative attachments. Things like thought forms.
Thought forms,
Yeah.
like negative thinking patterns.
Maybe. Or perhaps energy constructs created by thought.
Yeah.
Also curses, hexes, spells, negative programs, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And crucially, he says these can only attach to your energy field. They don't get inside the body itself.
Just clinging on energetically. Got it. What else?
Then there are lost souls. He describes two main types here. First, souls who died suddenly and maybe don't even realize they have passed. They tend to hang around where the event happened.
Oh, wow.
And second, souls who know they've died but are like afraid to cross over. Maybe they didn't believe in God or an afterlife, or they're scared for some reason.
And these souls can attach too.
Again, it comes down to frequency. If your frequency drops to a level similar to theirs, their energy can kind of latch onto yours.
And what kind of activities did he say lower frequency to that level?
He listed things like spending a lot of time in bars, smoking, recreational drug use,
Right.
also excessive cursing, verbal abuse, physical abuse, either experiencing it or doing it. Basically, actions and environments they see as having a low vibration.
So it creates an energetic match. But he also mentioned positive attachments. That sounds less worrying.
Yeah, he did touch on that. The idea that maybe a soul of someone who passed, someone you knew or admired, like a teacher, could attach if you have a similar frequency.
And they might be trying to help.
Potentially, yeah. Trying to influence or guide you. Laura mentioned how some people feel like they have a guardian angel, that kind of feeling.
But Coach was a bit wary of even those.
He was, yes. While saying it's a personal choice, he generally advised against encouraging or entertaining them. The implication seemed to be that any external energy attaching isn't ideal for your own energetic sovereignty, even if the intent seems good.
Right. Better to keep your own energy clear. Okay, so whether it's negative or supposedly positive, how did these attachments actually affect you day to day?
Well, Coach pointed to behavioral changes. Could be drinking more, smoking more, maybe increased drug use if that's relevant.
Like amplifying existing tendencies.
Or starting new ones, yeah. More bad language, maybe. Or subtle shifts people might not even notice in themselves, like a teacher style changing or just doing things differently without quite knowing why.
Interesting. Just subtle influences nudging you. Now, shifting to possession, that sounds much more intense. How did they describe the effects of that?
Definitely more intense. Coach clarified possession is where an entity gets inside, takes over part or all of the body. He mentioned extreme cases, though he said they hadn't personally seen a full takeover like that.
Okay, so the behavioral changes would be much more obvious then.
Oh, yeah. Significant changes that other people would definitely notice, like his example of someone who never drank suddenly hitting the bottle hard.
And Laura mentioned demons.
She did. That's often what people associate with possession, right? Demonic forces. But she did add that these situations can be dealt with.
It's not just demons, though, according to them.
No, Coach explained it could also be souls of people who've passed. Souls who want to experience life again, basically, through someone else. And he mentioned cases where the person possessed had no memory of what happened while the entity was in control.
That's pretty scary stuff. Laura also talked about something quite unusual, astral snakes and spiders. What are those about?
Right. That was a fascinating bit. She clarified, actually, that these are attachments, not possessions. She corrected herself on that.
Ah, okay. Attachments. And she had a personal story.
A very vivid one. She described being in her kitchen, feeling the sudden sharp pain in her ankle. Looked down, saw blood, puncture wounds.
What? From what?
Exactly. She couldn't find anything. No spider, no sharp object, nothing. She talked to Coach, and he confirmed it was an astral snake bite.
An astral snake bite. That caused physical wounds.
That's her account, yeah. She said she was initially, totally baffled, looking for a normal explanation. But after Coach's confirmation, she understood it within their framework.
And did this connect to other things for her?
It did. She mentioned having had unexplained bites and marks appear on her body before, over the years. And this incident kind of made sense of those past experiences for her.
So these non-physical things can apparently have physical effects in their view. Wild. Did she mention other weird physical manifestations?
She mentioned hearing reports from others, not her own experience, but people waking up with cuts on their chest or hips, strange places, which they attributed to possessions. And again, the advice was clear. If you're experiencing things like that, reach out for help.
Absolutely. Okay, so just to clarify the types of entities involved in possession specifically, what did Laura list?
She mentioned two main categories again, dark or demonic forces, and also souls that have passed away.
And possessions are generally more severe than attachments.
Yes, definitely presented as more serious, can cause things like really bad headaches, serious pain, alongside the major behavioral shifts.
Right. So given how serious this stuff can be, how effective do they feel their clearing work is, removing these attachments and possessions?
They both sound really confident about it. Coach estimated something like 90% of the time, the problems people bring relationship issues, other struggles are rooted in attachments or possessions.
90%. Wow.
Yeah. And clearing them resolves the issue, he says. Laura actually put the number even higher, like 97 or 98%.
That's incredibly high. So their approach is usually check for attachments possessions first.
Seems like it. Their process is check, remove anything they find, then wait a few days and see if the original problem just disappears.
Okay.
They do acknowledge that remaining 10% or so might be other things. Diagnosed illnesses, maybe needing different kinds of healing work.
So it really all circles back to keeping that frequency high, doesn't it? As the main prevention strategy.
Absolutely. They stress that consistently. Maintaining a high frequency is key to stopping these things getting a foothold in the first place.
But it's not easy, especially at first.
No, they acknowledge frequencies fluctuate. It takes practice, conscious effort. Attachments and possessions might be more common when you're starting out on this path, but should get less frequent over time as you manage your energy better.
And they flagged specific things that really drag frequency down.
Yes, Laura was quite specific. Prescribed meds, especially painkillers. Recreational drugs, of course, alcohol, tobacco, all seen as things that lower your frequency significantly, making you more vulnerable.
Okay, so pulling this all together from the 190 vision perspective, attachments are like energetic Klingons influencing you, while possessions are a full or partial takeover by an entity.
Right, and frequency is the battleground, basically. Low frequency opens the door.
And all sorts of things can attach negative energies, lost souls, even those astral critters like snakes and spiders. Possessions might involve darker forces or souls wanting another go at life.
Yep, and the effects range from subtle behavioral shifts with attachments to major noticeable changes in physical symptoms with possessions.
And the core advice is keep your frequency high. Avoid things that lower it, and consider clearing work if you suspect issues.
That really sums up their framework based on that video. It's a very energy-centric view of these phenomena.
Definitely a unique perspective. If this discussion based on Laura and Coach's work has caught your interest, you can find more from them on the 190 Vision Facebook group, their website, 190vision.com, the 190 Vision YouTube channel, their Instagram account, and even the 190 Vision Amazon Fire channel.
Lots of places to explore their ideas further.
So here's something to think about. Considering their idea that everything operates on a frequency, what one small change could you perhaps consider making today, just to subtly nudge your own energetic state in a positive direction?